Good morning. My name is Kelsey McLaughlin. Thank you for joining me for this training today. I'm going to be quickly covering some of the updates on Protege, which is the third generation of Lexis Plus AI, and then we'll get into a live demonstration of those updates. All right, first and foremost, here's an overview of the enhancements that Protege has given us. You'll see that a few of these are for commercial clients only, but as a law student, you have access to tailored follow-up prompts related to your previous prompt, draft mode, and the ability to edit documents within the Lexis platform. You can now draft and edit full motions, complaints, or transactional documents. You can experience the vault, which allows you to upload and save multiple document sets securely, and you can draft or generate timelines and other discovery documents. Just a reminder, where security and privacy are concerned, Lexis Plus AI does not train the model using any information that you enter into it. Each user session is totally secure, and as far as client confidentiality is concerned, it is safe to use. Additionally, we were recently FedRAMP approved. This is the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, which is a U.S. government-wide program that promotes the adoption of secure cloud services by providing a standardized approach to security assessment authorization and continuous monitoring for cloud products and services. Just a reminder that we utilize a multi-model, multi-vendor approach. An example of a large language model would be ChatGPT. We're utilizing several of these, the reason being that in utilizing more, when you deploy one of the tasks, it is hopefully going to complete the task using the large language model best suited for it. So the hope is that it will be completed more efficiently and more accurately. Right. I'm going to minimize that for a sec and pull this open. All right, so getting started, I just want to point out that the Lexis Plus AI icon has been replaced by the Protege icon over here on the Experience dock. I'm going to click into this. I'm going to select our Ask button here. So you'll notice that we still have those 4 single legal use tasks. We have Ask, Draft, Summarize, and Documents, which was formerly Upload. I'm going to start in the Ask function to demonstrate some of those updates, and then we'll move on to Draft and lastly, Documents. I just want to point out quickly here, there are examples of legal questions that you can ask, as well as prompt tips in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you're working with a student and they're struggling to formulate a search query, this is available to them to provide some guidance. Additionally, you'll notice above the prompt box, we're told every bit of content that Lexis Plus AI is utilizing when it's generating that answer for you. So that's going to be case law, codes, rules, and constitutions, agency decisions, practical guidance, and treatises. Notice that Law 360 News is not there, law review articles are not there. So be mindful that when you are utilizing Protege, prompting the system, this is the content that it will be searching through to retrieve your answer for you. All right, now moving on to the updates. I'm going to start in the ask function, but I'm going to go through previous conversations just for the sake of time. So let's see. All right. So here I've asked, how have courts interpreted the phrase needed to care for in the FMLA? So it's given me my answer. Courts have interpreted the phrase needed to care for under the Family and Medical Leave Act broadly, encompassing both physical and psychological care. Now, if you've utilized Lexis Plus AI before, you're familiar with the inline hyperlinked case law that's cited for you in the text. But previously, if I were doing my due diligence, I would need to open each of these cases individually, read them to verify the information that's stated in that answer. Now you can utilize this source preview. So once you've clicked that open, you're going to see the exact quoted language from the case for each of the cases that are cited there, which will allow you to do your due diligence more quickly, verify the information from the case to make sure that the answer it's given you is valid and correct. And it does that for each portion of the answer. As always, you have the content supporting your AI-generated response at the bottom, along with the Shepherd's treatment for each of those cases. If I want to view all related material, I'll select this, and then I can sort through all of the cases, statutes, practical guidance, treatises, etc. Reminder that you can select all of those materials here and utilize the delivery methods if you'd like to save them. You can go back. Additionally, Protege is now able to shepherdize your authority directly in your conversation. So previously, you would have had to go into the case to run your shepherd's report, but now you can ask it to shepherdize the authority for you, and it will provide shepherd summaries based on all of those top cases that it has listed in your answer. So I can look through this here. If I want to see the remaining cases, I can click that ellipsis and it's going to show me those cases there. All right, I'm going to go up to a conversation I asked or started yesterday, excuse me. So I've asked, how do courts treat custody modification in Oklahoma? It's given me my answer here. As I scroll, this is that first update that I mentioned in the PowerPoint, the tailored follow-up questions. So Protege is going to suggest questions to you based upon the initial question or the prompt that you've entered. These are based upon an attorney's expected workflow, again, as well as the question that you've asked. This is a great opportunity for anybody working with students, especially if there is a novel topic or area of law that you're working on, because this kind of provides an opportunity for critical thinking skills so that students can kind of decide what should be the next step in the analysis depending on the research that they're doing. All right, I'm going to go to a new conversation. We're going to move to the draft function. You'll notice there are examples here of drafts that you can generate. Prompt tips are still there. And then we have a list of all of the type of documents that the draft function is designed to draft. Now I'm going to pull open a draft that I have. Let's see. I can find it. There we go. All right, I've asked it to draft a complaint here against ABC Corp for denial of James Smith's FMLA leave. Now, when you ask it to draft something, it's going to open this way in what is called drafting mode for you. This is essentially a Word document. You can place your cursor anywhere within this document and edit it. So I could change the plaintiff's place of residence or the type of corporate entity. And I can treat it as a Word doc for the entirety of my AI user session. If I want to come down to the statement of facts and I see that there's something that I would like to expand upon, I can highlight that portion, open this drafting tools box, and it will give me the option to simplify, condense, expand, or redraft entirely. So if I selected any of these, it would expand that for me or condense it. You'll see here I've asked it to expand what is now listed as number 8 on our statement of facts. And if I like what it's given me when I've asked it to expand or condense, it'll give me the option then to replace in the document. So then it will put that text in there for me. And from here, I could still go back and edit as needed or change any of that as I see fit. But then I can continue to work on the document. I can complete additional AI tasks, ask it to summarize case law, whatever I may need while I'm working on the document. Now, after I'm done working on it for the day, I can go and save as a Word doc. So I have that saved for myself, or I can save and exit. If I save and exit, I can come back to this just by revisiting it in my conversation. Now, it's worth noting that just like your traditional history on Lexis Plus, which is available for 90 days, your conversations are available for 90 days. So if you're going to need a document that you've utilized or began working on in drafting mode, you're going to want to go ahead and pull it as a Word doc so that you have a copy of it saved if you will need it after that 90-day time frame. But it's there and you can go back to it like I mentioned. And going back to the drafting function, you're also able now to draft deposition questions. So this is one of those new discovery document drafts that you can begin. I'm going to open one and hopefully it's the right one. Okay. So once you've selected the button to draft deposition questions, it's going to ask you to provide the following information: case, fact, pattern, practice area, cause of action, jurisdiction. So I've done that here. And after I've given it that information, it will then ask me to provide the name of the deponent. So I have, again, this is going to open in drafting mode for you. So this is what you'll see after it's drafted those deposition questions for you. But I can then scroll through, I can edit, I can ask it to expand or condense some of those just as I did in that motion that it drafted for me. And I can continue to work on this draft as I need, save and exit, save as a Word doc. And I can come back and work on that as long as it's within 90 days. Now, the last real new feature is going to be in our documents function. So summarize is pretty much the same, but we're going to move to the documents function. So previously, when documents was uploaded, you were able to upload a single document and it would allow you to ask questions about that document, or it would summarize that document for you. Now you're able to upload a single document or multiple, and it will provide some analysis for you in addition to allowing you to summarize or ask questions. So first and foremost, I'm going to look through some documents that I have. Now I want to note that it will distinguish between a transactional document and a litigation document. I'm going to quickly pull open this transactional document to demonstrate that for you. Excuse me, please forgive my cat in the background. So you'll notice that we have some legal research tasks, summarizing and proofreading, drafting, but if you scroll to the bottom, there's some legal analysis tasks that you can complete. So you can select what's missing, which is going to look for missing clause language. You can select what's extraneous, which is going to kind of look at redundant language, do a coherence analysis for you. And then you can also select analyze the key provisions in the document, which is going to look for alternative clause language. Now, coming out of that, hide those suggested tasks. I can upload my litigation document and it will do the same for me, minus the transactional analysis that it did. The last new feature on the documents function is going to be the vault. So think of this as a really large client file. You can create a vault here, select multiple documents, note the type of documents that you can upload are listed there. You can upload 10 at a time, but you can have up to 500 documents in your vault, and you can have as many as 50 vaults. You can name it, provide that description there, and then it saves for you. So it isn't saving to Lexis's servers. This is not information that we can access. You're still safe in terms of privacy and security, but you can come back and work on this vault and complete additional AI tasks as you need. So I've got 12 documents in my trade secret vault. I can open that more suggested tasks button and it will draft interrogatories, generate a timeline, draft an argument, those additional discovery documents, or I can ask a question or start a draft here. Now, I would say that one of my favorite features of the vault, again, is drafting some of these discovery documents, but I especially like the generate a timeline feature. When you do that, when you ask it to generate that timeline for you, it's going to pull the date and some details from that relevant date and list it all for you. I've had students ask before, why on earth would you do something like this if you could, how do you know it's accurate? Is that something that you really want to take a gamble on, I guess? But if you have done any kind of litigation tasks, if you've worked on a trial, you know that it is so much easier to go and check these things and make sure that it's accurate than it is to create these things from scratch, especially when you have multiple years, multiple people, multiple issues, maybe multiple filings. There's just a lot of information that you're sorting through. So this can really streamline that process. Now, that is kind of the summary of those new updates. I'm going to quickly open my PowerPoint back up. So there are some use cases that colleagues of mine have come up with. They're listed here. These are ways that you might be able to work with students using Protege. This would allow you to integrate that into your work, but also assist them with their research in a creative way that might be helpful and relevant. And then I just want to remind you that there are teaching tools available to you. So there is a TA resources page. On there, you can find doctrinal pages, training videos, there are case briefs for students. There are also AI micro certifications in the Student Learning Center. Completion of those will earn you 50 points, I believe. And students are able to complete that to just kind of further their knowledge and education of these things. And then lastly, I just want to remind you that you do have summer access to Lexis, so you're able to use that in any internship, externship, clerkship, whatever it is that you're doing, you have access and you're able to use it. So that is all. Thank you for attending the training.